Galway knock out Mayo out of the Connacht Senior Football Championship. Galway progress into the Connacht semi-finals. It's a first win over Mayo in the championship since 2018. And yeah, well, what a brilliant performance by Galway. Very, very good defensively throughout the game, I felt. And you have to give them a lot of credit indeed. And I suppose I'll just get the score line in here very quickly there. But I suppose from a Mayo perspective, I mean, an interesting one, isn't it? Because, you see what Mayo and you've seen that fight back towards the end of the game. And I was kind of waiting for that moment. I always felt like Mayo, even though they were 5, 6, 7 points down going into the final 10 minutes, I felt like at some point something's going to happen here. There's going to be a push. There's going to be that moment. There's going to be something's going to happen that's going to spark them and they're going to go on a bit of a run. But it just came a bit too late. It just came a bit too late in the end, They ended up kicking the final 5 points of the game, 5 unanswered points. But look, Galway, they obviously started the brighter, obviously with that goal. Brilliant bit of work from Damien Comer. He obviously gets the ball into Johnny Heaney, who then obviously puts it in the back of the net. And Mayo struggling at times from their kickouts in the first half as well. Wasn't the best game really from Rory Byrne. A couple of kickouts going out over on the sideline, and yeah, it was a strange one for Mayo. They just didn't really seem to have that, Mayo bite or that intensity that you'd associate with Mayo. Usually in these kind of games, Mayo be up for it, and you don't want to see lads fighting or anything like that, but you feel like maybe that's what they needed to do or something just to get themselves up for it, because it just felt like the game was just, it was going at a strange pace at times, and they just weren't really 100% at the races. Killian O'Connor with 6 points was impressive enough. Ryan O'Donoghue with 4, but generally Mayo just struggled to sort of get that ball inside into their forwards. And Galway, to be fair to them, look, I know a lot of people have, including myself, have questioned Galway's defence and have said, look, when you look at how much they're conceding in Division 2, you would be a little bit worried for them going up against sides like Mayo, Kerry, or, some of the top teams. But look, they were very, very well organised. They had a clear defensive shape. They took the sting out of the game, bit of time wasted in there at different times as well. They really did play the game. They played the occasion. They played the game and not the occasion. And, took those scores when they came. Damien Comer, superb, kicked the points, but not only that, like he was tracking back at times, he was getting a couple of blocks in. Brilliant hold-up play, obviously sets up the goal as well. I thought his performance was very good. Shane Walsh with 5 points. Shane Walsh, not Shane Welsh, as Eamon Fitzmaurice was called. That was very frustrating, by the way. Shane Walsh, not Welsh. For Christ, like, Jesus, come on, like, spare us here. I'm already hungover enough. But brilliant performance from Shane Walsh. 5 points. Thought he was impressive to say the least. Johnny Heaney with 1-1. Niall Daly as well in the first half looked quite bright before he went off. Paul Conroy with 3 points as well. Just kicking some fine scores in there. And look, Galway have got some very good players. Even Kieran Malloy as well. Like he was getting forward at different times, created a couple of opportunities. I thought he played quite well as well. GAA lads says fair play to Galway. They played well. They sure did. And a massive moment, and you see with Pádraig Joyce celebrating with his team there at the end of the game, just a massive moment for Galway because, Mayo have obviously had their number in the last couple of years, and Galway, since 2018, haven't really been able to beat a big team, and this is the first sort of big win they've gotten since 2018. And you look at some of the young players in there, the likes of Jack Lynn, Sean Kelly, Liam Silk, even to a degree, and some of the new lads have obviously come into the team, even some of the lads on the bench as well, like Tom McElhan and, whatnot, Matthew Tierney, these kind of lads, like, big important victory for them to get over the line away to Mayo as well. Massive confidence booster. And look, you'd obviously expect them to beat Leitrim. That goes without saying. And look, I think a Connacht Championship now is very, very realistic. Obviously, Roscommon beat them twice already this year, and provided it is Roscommon in the final, obviously they have to get over Sligo. It sets up a very intriguing game, to say the least. Gavin says at least Andy doesn't have to see Leitrim versus Mayo. GA lad says Connacht final should be exciting, probably between Galway and Roscommon. Yeah, you would have to agree that most likely it will be between Galway and Roscommon. I think the big sort of turning point in the game, or the big was really the start of the second half. Galway outscored Mayo 6-1 quite early on in the second half, and they built up a bit of a lead. And I always felt that Mayo were going to be the ones that were going to kick on. Like Galway started very well, obviously getting the goal on the 6th minute. They were 1-4 to a point up after 6 minutes, so they were looking quite impressive from that moment. But I always felt like once Mayo got into their groove that they would take over. But it just didn't quite happen. The midfield, they didn't well around the middle. I thought Aidan O'Shea was okay, but it was just more so kind of getting that ball into those forwards. They just couldn't quite create the space, and the spark just wasn't quite there. I'm not sure. I can't really put my finger on it, to be honest. I'm not sure. Can Mayo recover? Done it before, as what Tommy Canavan says there. Yeah, look, you definitely, I know very well as a Dublin fan not to write Mayo off, because they just have a habit of coming back, and something tells me if there was no qualifiers this year, maybe Mayo might have found a way to win this game. That's just kind of how Mayo are. They're a strange team at times. When the qualifiers weren't in there, they won back-to-back Connacht titles. Obviously, 2019, 2018, there was obviously qualifiers, and Mayo didn't get out of Connacht, but, still, 2019, they went on to All-Ireland semi-finals. So, look, you certainly would not discount Mayo, but it is going to be tough. You're looking at some of the teams that are going to be coming, the qualifiers. There's going to be tough games in there. Like Armagh, are going to be in there. I know they weren't great today, but it's still a tough game. You could potentially have a Derry maybe dropping in there. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, some tough teams potentially coming into the qualifiers, so it will be difficult for Mayo. Make no mistake about it. But are Galway going to win the Connacht Championship from here? It's a close one. I'm not sure now, to be honest. I obviously tipped Mayo before a ball was kicked, and right now you're like, I haven't a clue now, to be honest. But look, they'll celebrate this victory. Big sort of character building there. Mayo, they showed that fight, that grit, that determination right at the end of the game, which I expected to see, but it just needed to happen maybe 5-10 minutes earlier. And maybe a bit of inexperience right at the death there from Aidan Orme to go for that. Would have been an absolute wonder score, and look, he's plenty of ability. Maybe could have, kept the ball, kept possession, recycled the ball. Kevin McLaughlin, when he came off the bench, by the way, I thought was very, very good. He changed a lot of the game. He obviously kicked the point, and he sort of provided that spark that Mayo needed. You could argue as well, like some of Mayo's substitutes maybe came a bit late, like Kevin McLaughlin, Darren McHale there, like both late substitutions. And it does seem to be that thing with James Horan sometimes, where it's just that, it's just those little decisions, those fine margins that sometimes he can't seem to get right. They won't recover, can't even keep players fit, and it's happening every season. Yeah, look, you won't write them off, but they are getting a lot of injuries, and it certainly will be tough for them. Make no mistake about it. But look, the day belongs to Galway. They were the better side. They just about held out in the end, just about getting over the line. And I suppose for people watching, let me know in the comments down below where would you put Galway in the, because I think a lot of people have Mayo or had Mayo in the conversation in terms of being thereabouts in the All-Ireland series. So I'd be curious to know what people think about Galway now. Could they be a dark horse? Could they be a team maybe that could go somewhere? Getting out Connacht, is viable. Obviously now it's very possible. Obviously they'd have to get past Leitrim and then either probably Roscommon. Quarterfinals, if you get a handy draw, they could get to the semi-finals. Not exactly inconceivable, but obviously a lot of work still to be done. Make no mistake about it. If you enjoyed this content, if you could smash the like button and subscribe, would be very much appreciated. And I'll see you all later.